Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome everyone to a new episode of Soul Love, and today I share the beautiful energy of my beautiful soul sister Mona Naidoo, and I welcome you in this sacred space.
Thank you, Kim. It's such an honor to be here and share the sacred space with you today. Thank you.
You're so welcome. It's so beautiful, and I feel so blessed with all these beautiful souls that I've met along the way, my journey of awakening and my journey of, inner empowerment. So you are sharing beautiful things about abundance and beautiful things about also reclaiming who you are in your essence. Can you share a little bit about how you came into this path, what awakened for you and what supported you in your journey of standing in the light in the beautiful way you are doing right now?
Well, Kim, that's an interesting question, right? Because I come from a legal background. I am the equivalent of a barrister. You know, most people are familiar with that in Europe and around the world. But in South Africa, we call that an advocate. And I worked in criminal law. So I was seeing all the, what I say is the dark side of money. And my journey actually started in 2014 when I went on this understanding of, hey, wealth is for everyone. It started off as a personal journey, and within a couple of months, it was like, wait, I've got to do more. I've got to share this wisdom with others. So that's where it started, you know, shifting from this matrix and this 3D vibration into higher consciousness, you know.
But also seeing the extreme. So you saw the extreme of a certain thing that activated your life, because that's what I see in all our journeys. And for some, it's a health issue, or for some it's abundance, or for some. But sometimes it's sometimes such an extreme trigger activates like a warrior in us. It almost feels like that. It activates something like you saw something that was in your essence not true, and you said it needs to be different. Yeah. But how did you step out of then? Because a lot of people see it. But then the step comes like, okay, what am I going to do with it? And how did that evolve in your journey?
And I guess this is so true for me and for many of us, right? We get the little nudges. We get the little hearts being open. And yes, for me, it was there for a long time, but I didn't know that territory. It was unfamiliar. So eventually, like the sound, it becomes so loud. And for me, I always say, if I see something 3 times or more, it means, well, I don't even wait for 3 times now. If I see it once.
But I love the rule.
Exactly. I heard a message 3 different times in 3 different spaces. And it was like, wait, something's speaking to me here. And I guess that was when I was tapping into my higher self, because I was working in the 3D. I was working from an ego base. I was working from the intellect. I was working from my personality.
But a lot of us, that's also how we are all being taught up when we, through society, through school, through everything. That's the way we get raised. And but we all deep within have that fire. I always talk about this love spark we have within us that is our truth, and it will speak to us. But I love how you say like the 3 things around you, if you see it 3 times, because our life is constantly giving us signals, but we need to be willing to see it. And when you see it the first time, you can say, you can just talk it away. And then after 3 times, it can't be coincidence anymore. It's like, it's really a message, and really, beautiful. But is it then an inner thing that arises, or did you follow courses of how did you step? Because you have now a beautiful business, and you're now standing and also supporting others in generating abundance and really standing for the truth you felt within you those years. But what did you do to shift your life in that?
So, you know, I always say my legal background is such a foundation, because I guess that's where that warrior spirit, yes, it was there from little. But that's where I got to speak my truth, because every day when I stood in court or I represented victims of crime, I had to be sharing the truth. So that that frequency has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was me connecting with my truth, my inner truth.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like going through that journey. And when I had to let go of a shadow, my anger towards my dad. You know, this is what catapulted me. I had no idea that releasing my anger towards my dad. And the best part was, I didn't know I had anger towards my dad.
No.
Yeah. It's like that opened up my heart, because it was a heart opening process.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I love that. Right? Yes, it
is.
is.
And that's what like catapulted me. And before I knew it, it was like the next thing and the next thing and the next thing was showing up. Yeah. And like I say, if we aren't aware that when something is showing up, it may be in a completely different direction to where we think we should go. Yeah. That's what just led to me eventually stepping away from my career, terrified on the day that I decided to do that in 2017.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And it's like stepping away and then like, oh, okay, I'm taking this leap of faith.
I'm doing it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But sometimes it needs these brave leaps of faith to really break the cycle of the old and step into something new, because otherwise, yeah, it's like it asks so much energy of us, and then you don't have the energy to do the new or really, yeah. But that's also what I noticed in my journey. It's a journey of being brave and stepping, because we are here to create something new, but we don't have these old templates that can show us how, because it's like, yeah, we really need to start from this new foundation. But I love that it is like a journey of coming home in yourself, a journey of reconnecting to the heart and the essence of your being. But also what I love about your story is that honoring the path you were on. So also you being in the legal system, you seeing those things was part of your awakening journey, because sometimes we have these things like, I feel I really want to do something else, and then we almost neglect what we have learned in the past. But it's all part of our journey. It are all puzzle pieces. And sometimes in the beginning we can't quite understand, why did I do this study, or why did I do this job? But when you move forward, you see that everything teaches you something or awakens something within you. It can be like a fire that you see like, this is not my inner truth. And I love that in your sharing. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. And you know, Kim, I thought that my legal, because I worked in public service. For me, from the day I started, I knew I am in service to the people of South Africa. You know, so for me, when those epiphanies started dropping in, like, you've got to do something different, it was like, no, I am in my calling.
Yes.
Right? And it's important for us to realize that the calling may change and shift along the way.
Yeah. Yes. But the essence is the same, because you're still in service, but you're in service for a much bigger Africa, a much bigger earth, a much bigger than the 3D limitation of service. I love that. Yeah. But what would you advise yourself if you're now looking back? Like what would be like for the listeners, a beautiful advice that you would give them, or a beautiful tool to really step up in and following their calling and following their truth? And
I guess the advice I would give, or the Mona that was there then, and to our listeners, is that, you know, let's pay attention to the signs, the signals. Right? Because what I found is that the more I resisted the path that was being illuminated, well, then chaos was happening around me. Now, I'm sure so many of our listeners will be resonating with this, right?
Yes.
And Kim, it happens right now in our lives as well.
It is an ever ongoing spiral. Yes.
Exactly. So it's like, pay attention. That when there's a bit of chaos, and it doesn't even have to be chaos. Notice the discord, notice the disharmony in our lives. And it can show up in our health, our finances, our relationships, our environment. Pay attention to that, because the answers are in that space. And the minute you like move into alignment with the path that's being prepared now, or the way for us to move in, you'll see it's kind of like a dance. You flow into it. It's kind of magical, musical, flowing. You know, it's just such a beautiful space to be in. And yes, other things are happening around us, but we feel so expanded. And I guess it's because our hearts are opening each time we walk in the right direction, if I could say it like that.
It is. Yeah, but it's supported from within, because that's also like sometimes we take these huge leaps and we stretch ourselves, but we feel so supported from our heart. So even though your logical mind or your ego mind goes into the safety mechanism, thinks, why am I doing this, or what is happening, but deep within, it's like a deep knowing that really says you're on the right path, a deep knowing that expands your heart beyond the logical mind, beyond I love that, because that's so important. Because the journey will not always be easy, and it will not always be very clear, but your heart knows the truth. It's tuning into a different system of connecting with the truth. If we as children would have been taught to listen to our bodies, or listen to our emotions, or listen to the guidance of our hearts, because that's really, I love that also, as you share the illuminated path, because it's truly there, but it will not always say that your mind likes the illuminated path, because your mind likes to let everything be the same and likes to repeat the past. So it's a stretching, sometimes illuminating path, but it's beautiful because it's more rewarding and you step more in your light. Yeah. But I also love how you're still speaking truth, but from, instead of the mind, now from the heart. And that's such a different place to come from. Yeah. To spread.
Yeah. And I guess, if we think about it, and like you correctly said now, Kim, there's a lot going on in our mind, that intellectual space. Yeah. And, think about it, coming from a legal background, everything's in the intellect. Excuse me, you don't go and feel, because you should be feeling. Right? Yes. And that's just it. It's like for us to keep dropping down into our heart, because that's when we get to speak our truth. Right? That's when we get to be our truth. Yeah. That's when we get to experience truth in its most purest form.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But within a legal system, I can understand that it's difficult, because when we tune into the truth of our hearts, my truth can be different than your truth. So whose truth is right then? No, it's like, but I think it's also coming back to a space where we can all have our own truth. And that can look different, and that we can be fine with that you follow your heart and I follow my heart, and we all follow our heart and create like beauty. Because when we come from this centered space, it truly is, we are joyful, we are excited, we are supported, and we are magical and abundant and all these things. But then we can stand in the world from overflow, and that's really like in the radiant energy we are, and in the, so it's beautiful. So what is your vision you are holding for the future of what you're creating with your business now, standing from your heart's truth? Or
so my mentor, the person that like woke me up in 2014, or the vision that was brought to me, was fulfilling Nelson Mandela's dream at that stage of the country of our dreams.
Yes.
And then a couple of months after that, it was it's to contribute to building the world of our dreams. And it's exactly what's been spoken about in the last few years, right? The new earth, the new world. And I'm like, wait, this was told to me in 2014 already, and I didn't fully grasp it, because in my legal career, it was, okay, how do I do that from this space? But all I knew was, when I showed up as me, the real me, and I helped other people be their real true selves, it's like eventually, and I say it like this, we are like these fairy lights. We all light up all over the world.
Yeah.
And eventually we bring so much light into this world, right? And that's my vision. So much of light just radiating from each of us, that we shift the frequency in such a profound world. And for me, Kim, it's about like magic. You know how magic, you click your fingers and abracadabra, you see something, it's there.
Yes.
It will happen, So I always say, I'm one of those people, and like Kim, I know you are there too, one of these crazy people that we're holding joy, happiness, beauty, abundance for everyone. So the world of our dreams, that's how I termed it in its simplest form. Yes, whatever beautiful. That dream is for each of us.
Yeah, right? Because it's different for all of us. Yeah, but the new earth, it is within us. It is within our hearts, and within us being ourselves, and being just our amazingness, but also our craziness, and embracing all these parts of us. Because yeah, if we can really all in the world be ourselves, shine our light in our unique way, that is how we change the world. But it starts within, because that's also beautiful, like also empowering, because we can contribute in changing the world just by ourselves, by doing the inner work, by coming back to the essence of our being, and then just radiating our light in whatever way feels aligned. Because it can also be like you sitting in nature, radiating your light, co-creating with that, or you just in your community doing things, or just in your household, or it's like being that essence in your unique way that gives you joy and excitement. Yeah, but it's also, I think, in allowing ourselves to be, and stop the judgment, and because we are magical, but it's reclaiming those parts of us. We are really stardust, so it's time to stardust it all over the world and just create this magical sparkle. Yeah. But it's also believing again in sparkles. It's like, yeah, believing again in miracles, believing again in that something different can be created, even though you sometimes don't see the physical results yet. Because I think that's also, for me at least, a journey of really staying in that trust. When I align, when I follow my heart, magical things open up. But sometimes, like the physical manifestations, is not always as quickly as we feel it in the energy. And then it's holding that space for ourselves, because it truly happens, but it's, yeah, in divine time and opening up. So holding that light and holding that, yeah, I think that's an important key. Yeah, in the journey of awakening. It's interesting, yeah. But what would you what do you use as tools to keep your light awake, and what do you use as tools to keep that spark?
Well, the first thing is that, you know, a daily morning ritual.
Yes.
For me, and this is why I always say, you know, I love merging the spiritual aspects with the material world, right?
Yeah.
Because until I set myself up for success every morning, yes, well, I could, you know, a sensitive soul, right? We can just tap into everything that's around us. Yeah. So it's making sure, well, it actually starts the night before you go to bed, but every morning, it's me connecting to my inner stillness, finding peace, you know, doing my grounding. For me, that's fundamental. Yeah. Connecting to Mother Earth, connecting to the heavens, bringing in the light together into my heart, and like radiating it out into the world, because we are, you know, here on this planet. Yes, so it's connecting that truth. And for me, it's like not just doing it once a day. It's repeatedly throughout the day, because life happens, right? Yeah. Something in South Africa, we have load shedding. So you can work with things like that.
It asks you to be flexible. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And I guess that's it for me. Grounding, protecting my energy field. Yeah. Because it is so easy to get used. And oh, I do not watch news. I do not listen to anything that's out there. If I'm to hear something, it will come my way, and then I will know how to deal with it.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's surrounding myself with the right frequencies, having beautiful music playing, clearing frequencies in the background, and connecting with nature. Kim and I love that, right? Yeah. Nature, like whatever form, touching a leaf, if you can go outside. If you can't go outside now, find something, look at a picture of something.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's really so many different things, but the most important every day is grounding, quiet time in the morning, you know, energy protection. Because once you're in your warrior protection mode, it's like you go out and you're the warrior of light, and you know, you play with that.
It is, but you also attract very different things. If you really, it's about boundaries, but also setting your field for success, setting your field for this is what I am ready to receive, and this is what I'm worthy of it, and I love that. But also doing that multiple times a day, because life just happens, and things can trigger us, or things can happen, and then it's constantly reminding yourself to come back into that vibration you set as an intention in the morning. So I really love that. And also nature, so there's such a beautiful way to do that. But it's the setting the intention, I think that's important. Also surrounding yourself with things that uplift you, and that, like, I'm also not watching news and all those things, but I know it's like, if I need to know things, they will come. But for the rest, it's what are my values, and what are the things I surround myself with, and how do they represent my values, and how do they represent what I desire to bring forth in the world in a loving way, or in a so, but sometimes that can also mean like sometimes letting go of some connections we have, or because they are constantly bringing up old things instead of what you desire to bring. It's really, I think, a journey of reclaiming who you are in your essence, and really in everything, like what do I stand for, and how does everything that I surround myself with interact with that? Is it a contribution or not? And it doesn't mean letting go of everything, but it's constantly tuning in, like if the thing I'm doing, does that contract me or expand me, or does it bring me joy or excitement or not? But we have so been taught to give to others at sometimes the cost of ourselves. And it's really this new earth is first taking good care of yourself in a loving way. It doesn't mean you don't have to do all the other things, but it's taking first good care of yourself. And I think that's a huge paradigm shift, because when you find yourself worthy enough to love yourself enough to say, I'm choosing things that bring me joy, I'm first filling my own cup, and then I can give from overflow, then we get a whole different world. Because what we now see is that people interact from lack, or interact from, I want something to fill up my emptiness, and that's really a shift that needs to happen, to really love ourselves and to really come back to that space of wholeness and interact, because then you also get different conversations. That's also for me what I notice. The more I raise my vibration, I meet beautiful souls like you and others. It's like that enriches your life. It sparks something, it awakens something, but we all come from a place of wholeness, and then we have a whole different direction, a whole different interaction. So I love that. But it's a constant focus. So I also love that you share that, because it's not like, okay, I do it once and then it's like you really need to find yourself worthy enough to do that in your day, to say, okay, this is where I'm focusing my direction towards, or So
I guess, Kim, that's so important, because for me, I'm a master organizer, master planner, master strategist. Right? So you can see why my legal background is such a foundation, right?
Yes, I get that.
If we don't schedule that time for us, we speak about love and self-love and all this type of stuff. But if we don't prioritize ourselves, and the easiest way to prioritize ourselves is have a schedule. What are you willing to do for you in a day? How are you willing to use your time? Because I guess, sometimes we can be in the spiritual space, but we don't realize that the practical way of living is still so applicable, whether you are in the material or spiritual world.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And prioritizing for me is, if you schedule that I'm going to get up at this time, because for me it's 4 o'clock every morning. I don't have to get up at 4 o'clock, but I love the stillness.
Yes.
I love that. So we schedule it. How much time do you want? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours? I mean, it's up to us. Focus, planning. Because, strategies, it's all about planning. Right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Right?
Yes, it is.
With the flexibility to flow, should there be a change.
Yeah. But it's planning from a different dimension. Instead of, oh, I'm going to do this and this, it's planning to create space for stillness, to let inspiration arise, to let connection arise. So it's planning from a whole different dimension. But I really love also prioritizing yourself. Because most of the time what we have learned from the old ways is like, okay, I first do everything else, and then what is left is for me. No, it is the other way around. It's like first me, and then, because truly when you do that, life is just so much easier. You get beautiful responses, you get beautiful interactions, beautiful things come on your path, because you find yourself worthy enough to prioritize yourself. So I love that. Scheduling, planning, and it doesn't sound romantic, but it's essential. We need to do that. We need to honor ourselves, because we also schedule other things. We schedule like 3D thing or things we need to do. Why not schedule time with ourselves? So I think that's a beautiful message for everyone. Yeah. Important.
And I guess I always say the most important relationship, your greatest love affair is with you. Yes. And I mean, great time, right? To go have a date with this person or that person or whatever. What about a date with yourself? So, and I guess that's how you shift, instead of it looking like, oh, I'm being like, rigid to show up. It's like, no, this is a beautiful relationship you're cultivating.
Yes. And the most important one, because you have yourself, your whole life. Why not empower yourself first? Yeah, that is beautiful. Thank you. or going on a date with yourself. I think that's a beautiful message to share and to really, yeah. So if you, as we always come to a place of completion, what would you like to share as last message with the listeners, with people, or an advice or a tip or?
Fun
Yes.
and playfulness, right? Because that's the essence of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the essence of being in your truth, because that's what we came here to experience. And
Yes.
whatever that means for each of us, it's like if we can just include that every single day, whether it's 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it doesn't matter, because it's not the amount of time, it's what you're doing in that space. And you know, it's like words can't even describe what happens when we bring that joy in its purest form,
Mm-hmm.
bliss, because that's how we get to experience bliss. So for me, bring fun and playfulness into something. Be quirky.
Yes.
You know, be quirky,
Yes.
be answers, right? Do something.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, because that's so powerful to just be in that fun space and really, enjoy our life. But also it's like finding ourselves worthy enough. But there's a different dimension even in that. Yeah, but being in love with ourselves and joy and fun, there's so much magic in that. But really, owning that part. There was another thing that popped up, but now it's gone. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Being in that fun space and really scheduling you time, creating a date for yourself. That's beautiful message. So I thank you for sharing your beautiful energy, sharing your magic. If you want to find out more about Mona, you can find her information below. And I hope to see you in the next Soul Love podcast. So for now, much love and enjoy your day, evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you, Mona, for being here. Much love.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.